Hello, I hope that you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today where we are going to talk about books. And our book that we will be focusing on is All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. And this is the book I selected for my red spin of the color wheel. It's the first book of a two-part series. The second book is All of Our Demise. In the city of Ilvernath, 7 families put forth a champion to compete in the Blood Veil tournament every 20 years. The champions are all teens who compete against one another until only one remains. The winning family wins high magic, which means essentially that they'll have power for the next 20 years. The tournament has been held for generations, and each family has a distinct reputation. Some families, like the Lowe family, are seen as ruthless. They'll do anything to win, but in later life, the champions struggle with their sanity. Even the current champion, Alistair, does not know exactly how far his family will go, but he's about to find out. Some, like the Greaves, aren't taken seriously. No one expects their champion, Gavin, to get very far. When he makes a deal with a spellmaker to make him competitive, what he doesn't realize is the problems it's going to cause for him. The McCaslins are vile and viewed as opportunistic. Their champion, Isabel, doesn't even really want to be in the competition. And Bryony Thornburn has wanted to compete in the tournament for years. She thought she was a shoo-in for Thornburn champion until she was replaced by her sister. There's even more pressure for this year's tournament. Someone, probably of Grieve, has written an expose about the tournament. And suddenly everyone is interested. Families are scrutinized for subjecting their children to the death game. And the champions themselves are dealing with more pressure than any of the champions before. It is the first book of the duology, and many questions, including who wins the tournament, go unanswered. But the second book has been published and is available for you to read when you finish the first. So what are some other books to read for a similar experience? And while All of Us Villains takes place before and during a competition, it's also a character-driven story. So our suggestions are going to fall into those two categories, either character-driven or about a competition. And we're going to start with a book that I think many of us think of when we think of books with competitions. And it's a 3-part series. So The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. These two are both playaways because our print books are currently checked out. So while the series starts with Hunger Games, and that's a very plot-driven story, by the time you get to Mockingjay, it's a very character-driven story. So to summarize the series, North America is now the country of Panem. There's a capital and 12 surrounding districts. Each district has resources, and these resources are exploited by the capital. Years ago, there was a revolt, and to make amends for that revolt, the capital forces each district to enter 2 competitors or tributes each year. 1 boy and 1 girl from each district between the ages of 12 and 18. The story is told through the eyes of 16-year-old Katniss, who is from District 12. The story takes place over the period of time from when the tributes are chosen through one year's Hunger Games and into the next year's, and the aftermath of these competitions. I've mentioned before that I don't really read books that I feel are overhyped, and it took me a long time to actually read this series, but it is so worth it. Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. And this is another book that has a competition in the story. Maya works as a seamstress in her father's shop. Her dream is to become the greatest tailor, but as a girl, it's a dream that she won't see come to fruition. The most she can hope for is to marry well. A royal messenger summons her father to court, but her father is ill. Maya goes in his place, posing as his son. At court, she is entered into the competition to be named as Imperial Tailor, but if her secret is revealed, her life is over. She works hard in the competition and in trying to make sure no one catches on to her secret. The final challenge takes her on a quest to each of the ends of the earth to complete. The Gilded Ones by Namina, Forna. And in the kingdom of Otera, all 16-year-olds must go through a ritual, a blood ceremony, to see if their blood is red, as it should be, or gold. When the girl's blood is gold, she is deemed impure and must be banished. Dika lives in fear of this ceremony and prays for red blood so she can truly belong. But on the day of the ritual, her blood is gold. A mysterious woman comes to Dika with a choice: live in the village and face her fate, or leave and fight the emperor with an army of girls like her. They are Alaki, near mortals with rare gifts. Dika decides to leave her town, hoping for acceptance. As she travels to the capital, she learns that that city holds many surprises, and no one is quite what they seem. And there we are. I hope that you enjoyed this look at all of us villains, and I hope that if you're interested in these stories, you will give one or more of them a read. We will be back next week with the book I selected for my orange spin of the wheel, and that is We Made It All Up. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you!